Welcome again to the Ref Show. David Hirst and Mark Halsey are on the panel, and derbies dominate. Let's just kick off with derbies. Did kick off a bit in Manchester as well. In the tunnel afterwards, lots of afters. Morning, Hirsty as well. Manchester City winning at Old Trafford by 2-1. Never going to be popular there, is it, particularly? Michael Oliver in charge. Big match performance?
Yeah, I think it was a big match performance. I think he'd been refereeing in the Champions League earlier in the week, and I thought he delivered an excellent performance. Got the big major decisions correct. There's the non-penalty that he didn't give, I thought was absolutely spot on. The only thing, a couple of things, I think Jesus, I think he should have cautioned Jesus for simulation. It's a disease in the game, and we want rid of that. And you look at the new rules in place by the FA on simulation. Do we now have to look at that as well? Because we only look at it if a team gains from it. But why, if we're going to stamp it out, we've got to be looking at this situation as well. I just felt that I thought Michael could have just slowed the game down a little bit more in the second half. He tends to let challenges go. There was a couple of challenges by David Silva, which he then came back and cautioned. And if you don't stop the game there, jump on it there, then players gives them licence to take their own retribution.
There was a caution for diving in there. Ander Herrera of Manchester United following Otamendi challenge in the area. No queries on that one. Where do you stand, Hirsty, on this dive? If you'd have been playing now, would you have been staying on your feet all the time?
I would have stayed on my feet because it's a lot more energy burnt getting up off the floor, so I wouldn't have been going down. But I see what they're trying to do, and I understand what they're trying to do. But like you say, simulation is simulation, whether it's to gain an advantage, or as in a penalty, or it's a free kick, or what. We need something to come in and actually, no matter where it happens on the field of play, we still look at it. We go back and look at it, and people get fined, banned from matches, whatever. Absolutely. But we've got to start making it a serious crime.
But going back on what Hirsty's saying, he's absolutely spot on. I'm going back to last week when Smith was cautioned by John Moss. It was a clear penalty. Now the FA, for me, have got to change their rules where they can rescind a caution because Smith missed this week's game because that was his
unfair.
And the referee apologised.
We've got more on the subject of simulation, if you want to call it that. I think that's a boring word and I prefer diving. Later in the show, Wilfred Zaha incidents to run by you two. But continuing the derby theme, you rated Michael Oliver excellent. Anthony Taylor, of course, was in charge of another really big one, West Ham Chelsea. That was earlier in the weekend, 1-0 to West Ham. Marko Arnautovic, first of all, just clear up this technicality. He ran into the crowd, he got cautioned. Are you comfortable with that ruling or not?
Well, listen, I am. I mean, those situations, the players are clearly told, OK? You jump into the crowd, it becomes a safety issue. We've got young children in there, the crowd surge forward, someone could get crushed. So the players know they cannot do that, and if they do that, they will be cautioned. Where I have an issue is if a player scores a goal and the emotions score a goal, he takes that shirt off, he runs to the crowd, he stops at the fence. For me, that shouldn't be a caution.
But then what do we do? Do we actually then send all the crowd out of the ground that got off the seats to come to the front of the wall, where there could have been a crush? Who's at fault?
Yeah, but what?
Take it back now. Arnautovic can't score a goal and celebrate.
No, he can. But I'm saying, don't jump over the hoardings into the seats. Don't.
They know it's an issue.
I tell you what,
I mean, it's exactly the same, and I've heard it time and time again. It's a referee who's never scored a goal, celebrated a goal.
Listen, I ain't got a problem, but you don't need to jump into the stands.
It's ludicrous.
No. You've got young children there.
I tell you what, West Ham, I mean, what have they done this season? They're playing Chelsea, they scored a goal. It's unbelievable. Euphoria.
Listen.
And he's going to celebrate. To be fair...
OK, I agreed earlier in the season when Sterling was sent off with Bournemouth, OK? It wasn't his fault. The fans invaded onto his space. He was on the green area. He didn't jump into the field of play. He went over to celebrate with his fans, and the fans came on the pitch. That shouldn't have been a caution. This one, I'm sorry.
I saw you score many goals, and I never saw you go into the crowd.
To be fair, there was fences up around the ground at the time.
Otherwise, you would have.
I would have done. He couldn't jump into the fence.
The fences were there to keep Hirsty off the pitch.
Like I say, the fans are supposed to be sat on their seats.
Yeah, OK, and this was unusually early in a game for a player to run into the crowd. He could have done his celebrating on the field quite easily.
But not only that, but just going out, he puts himself in trouble. 6 minutes, he's on a yellow card, and we know how aggressive he can be on the field of play, don't we? So he's putting himself in danger, and he's putting his club in danger.
I would like to know if there was anybody hurt during that situation, and if so, I'll take it all back.
It doesn't matter. It's clear.
So I can't take my kid to the game, to watch a game, in case someone scores and celebrates. No. Because the crowd go forward at that time.
Don't jump into the crowd. No. Stay this side of the fence.
Yeah, but Halsey,
do you agree, Big C?
You're jumping it. You've just jumped into the crowd.
There you go. There you go.
I'm giving him a yellow card.
I tell you what I think, mate. I just think that was a very entertaining 2 or 3 minutes and not to be missed. And in that game, there were six Hammers cautions. Great win, first win for David Moyes. A couple of penalty claims in that. What did you think? Did you not? Did you think that was okay? There was one. There was a West Ham penalty claim for handball, but probably wasn't a very clear claim at all.
No, it wasn't deliberate. No, actually, we're agreeing.
No. You're agreeing.
Sorry, no, it wasn't a penalty.
We don't want agreement. That's a yellow card minimum on this show. Right, final derby. Liverpool won, Everton won. OK, it's a penalty which didn't please Jurgen Klopp. The Everton equaliser, Wayne Rooney scoring from the spot. Dejan Lovren pushing Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Is there any doubt about that? You're going to argue again.
Well, listen, I watched the game. I watched the game as everyone else did, and when Lovren puts his hands up on the back of the Everton forward like that, you run the risk and you're asking the referee to make a decision. And for me, I think Craig got it absolutely spot on because he's there, he's in a great position, and it's a penalty all day long. You've got to criticise the Liverpool defender, not the referee.
Right, come on, Hursty.
I think it's a soft penalty. First and foremost, you're saying again, I can't jump in the crowd, I can't put my hands up as a defender to try and keep a balance.
Well, he hasn't done that, he's gone.
Now, if he's actually got him and he's ragging him about, yeah, fair play. But the actual, what we used to call back in it was a little shoulder charge type thing. Similar situation. If we're going, letter of the law, okay, he's gone down every time.
Letter of the law, hang on, letter of the law.
Everybody goes down, it's a free kick when somebody touches them. Is that the case?
No.
No, it is a contact, but
it's a contact sport.
But you run the risk when you put your hands on.
I run the risk of getting booked, sent off, scoring every time I come down that tunnel. I'm running that risk because I've got to make a challenge. Listen, I've got to make aerial combat.
In some cases, I do agree with you because obviously when you're going at pace, a little bit of contact, you do go down.
I may be looking at it from my point of view. If I'm Calvert-Lewin in that situation, I'm looking after the ball because I'm not on penalties.
But do you not think the defender has been a little bit naive in that situation?
I think there is a bit of naivety in there. And like I say, am I saying he's got it wrong? No. What I'm saying is the minimal amount of contact. Is it a dive that gets him the contact?
Was it foolishly given away then by Lovren?
Yes,
foolish action.
Absolutely.
Can we agree on that?
Can we agree on anything with him?
Right. All right. Let's just rattle through a few more at the end of part one. We've got the Championship in part two as well.
Just I mean, Jurgen Klopp's
reaction
in this, and
rather petty.
Childish. I'd like to hopefully think that the referees included it in his report and reported him for improper conduct because we see his antics week in, week out on the touchline, berating fourth officials. Now, if Jose Mourinho had done that or Conte had done that, would action be taken against him? And he just seems, for me, listen, he's a great manager, but
fair point.
He's got examples to set to youngsters watching him the way he acts.
Just rattle
himself in a technical area.
Right, rattle through a few of these because we've got the Championship and more Premier League action in part two. Also an MLS Cup final as well, just to refer to. The game I saw, Stuart Atwell was in perfect charge, I thought. Did a Halsey, no cards at all. Huddersfield 2, Brighton 0, and just these to rattle through. Swansea 1, West Brom 0, Mike Dean. Roger Rees, Spurs 5, Stoke 1. Neil Swarbrick, Newcastle 2, Leicester 3, and Bobby Madley, Southampton 1, Arsenal 1. Anything to raise from any of those games for you?
I thought Arsenal may have had a penalty just before half time where was it the Arsenal forward? Who was it? Who plays up front? Who was it? I can't remember who it was. That's it. I think he got absolutely. The shot gets when he got absolutely wiped out. Now, if that happens in midfield, you give a free kick and a caution. Now, for some reason,
it's contact.
I mean,
this is what I've been told.
If it's contact, it's a penalty.
We
look at that.
Yeah.
and we look at the penalty at Anfield,
Right.
there's a big difference because he absolutely wipes him out. And for me, I don't think there'd been any complaints had
he given a penalty?
Had Bobby Maddy given a penalty to Arsenal just before half time.
Are you agreeing on that? Are you?
No, it's coming round to my way of thinking. Simple as
And by the way, just before I forget, a very happy 50th birthday to you, Mr. Hirst, from this week. I know it's a birthday month for you, but
birthday month. Yeah, I can't remember the actual day, but yeah. No, very good.
He's looking good, isn't
I don't feel any different to 49. Trust me.
Nor should you, really. Nor should you.
And that's not stone.
Well, just take a couple of minutes to chill, and then I'm looking for the sparks to fly again in part 2. Do you reckon you can?
Yeah, I think we're going to go in and have a room.
No, we'll be all nice on this. It's on the championship.
Okay, I know you'll rejoin us. See you in a bit.